Alright, so today we're going to check out the wiring on this Toyota Elocker diff. Basically, I've got the wiring harness is just trailer wiring. You can follow diagrams online. Basically, I pinned everything out. It's pretty straightforward. Right now I just have the ground hooked to the battery and a positive hooked to the battery, to just a 12 volt battery. So I've got it wired so that when the locker motor is out, the light is off, and when you press the locker button and it locks in, it's on. There you go. So now it's locked, unlocked, light is off. There's quite a few wires that go to this thing. These are positive for mostly power to the two lights on board, and then power to the locker itself. I gotta adjust the sensor a little bit so that the secondary light comes on when it's locked, but other than that, it's ready to go into the axle. So I've got the axle built. It's got knuckleball gussets. It's got the steering stop gussets. I've got a front diff guard on it. What else? I milled the Elocker housing out on my Bridgeport, so it gave a real nice finish, not ground. It's actually milled out on my milling machine. So I used the gasket as a template. It definitely is a good enough guide for where to tap your holes and everything. If you have a Bridgeport or a drill press, drilling these holes through the flange is a lot easier if you can clamp it down and do it that way. The only other thing that I've noticed is that you actually have to dimple the housing right here to clear the bolt on the back for the carrier bearing preload nuts. That lock nut ends up hitting the back of the... I also switched it out to a button head cap screw rather than keeping it the full size. Other than that, it's just a standard truss. It's an 85 axle, so it's got the lower truss goes all the way out to the end. So then I've got about the only other thing I did that was different was knuckleball gussets and new shock housing with a gusset as well on top. This is my solid axle setup. I'm gonna run this locker motor protector, and then I've got trail gear gussets boxed in the motor mount, and then I've tacked in the shackle mounts to the frame. I drilled a hole. I actually did this without a cutting torch. I started with a cutting torch and I felt like I was putting too much heat into the frame. If I had a plasma cutter, I would have switched to that, but I found that using a grinder, really a cutting wheel was not difficult with the engine out. I had no problem removing all of the brackets with just a cutting wheel. It took about an hour per side to do that, maybe an hour and a half per side. It really wasn't that bad. I don't think a torch would have made it that much faster, and I didn't put all that heat into my frame. So then I went ahead and I bought the trail gear reinforcements. What's it called? Rough Stuff makes a better one, but I didn't want to unbolt my steering pump because I'm not doing hydro right now or anything. The Rough Stuff one goes all the way back to and it goes around the VIN stamp on the frame. It goes all the way forward, and it on the other side it plates in the steering box as well, but you gotta take your steering box off to put them on. Like I said, if I was doing hydro steering, I probably would have gotten those plates instead. I've got the All Pro set up here. I've got 4-inch shackles and the lower profile front hanger. It's not nearly, it's about an inch lower than the standard mount. So that'll keep this thing nice and low. I'm trying to run 35s but stay as low as possible. I got a 63 Chevy swap kit for the back. I'm also doing a auto to manual transmission conversion. It's a Marlin transmission, 4.7 to 1 low range transfer case. I had to modify the floorboard and stuff in order to get all that in. So I pop riveted in a plate to handle the manual shifter. This is going to be my new radio with a locker plate bezel, just a piece of stamped sheet metal going below my double din to be able to do all the wiring for that. What else? My engine blew a head gasket, so I pulled that out, and I am doing basically a rebuild from Yoda 1 over in Modesto, California. This is 3.0. I redid the crossover pipe, since that is the failure point. This cylinder 6 head gasket is where it failed, where they all fail at 180,000 miles, which is right where my truck is at. So I went ahead and modified the crossover, keeping it California smog legal. But it's been a ton of work, using bomb-proof engine mounts. Pretty much everything on here is stock Toyota parts. Yeah, so this is my setup that's going in right now.